Are we ready?
All right, David.
David, I think even some of the first interviews I've listened to you, I listened to you say, I want to be a national champion, I want to be a world champion, I want to be an Olympic champion. What is it to have this sort of culminating moment that I've been listening to you talk about, that you said you've had since you were, less than 10 years old? What is it like to have that moment, a life's work really, come to fruition?
Oh, geez, I think it's just like the end of the match. It's just, there's a lot of emotion, in that. I think just you want something so bad, you want for a long time, and sometimes when you want something bad, it almost holds you back. And I think that I was kind of stuck in that middle ground where, especially once I graduated college, that was the next step. But I wasn't really there, and it took, going up a weight class and really changing everything I do, my nutrition, my diet, my strength conditioning. And at that point, being a great wrestler for as long as I was, as good as I was, I needed to get better. It was just simple, and that's a hard thing to say when you're at that point. You'd be like, I need to get better at wrestling, and just my coaches have helped me continue to progress and just kind of try to continue to reinvent myself in different ways. And I think all of those things, especially over the last 5 years, I would say of my career, were on display this weekend. I think I still have that relentless pace, score a lot of points, dominate people, but finding a way to get a double leg with 15 seconds left, and on a guy that his only job in that match was to do absolutely nothing. That was their game plan. Yeah. So, and it feels really good. I wish that, I could give my dad and my mom a hug, my wife a hug right now, because when I think about, I've been reflecting, the last couple of days, and especially my parents, just the amount of sacrifices they truly made, and I think just, a kid can't fathom it, but an hour and 45 minutes one way to practice, and then practice for 2 hours, and then an hour and 45 minutes back, and that was multiple times a week, and then getting in the car ride and going to a tournament on the weekends. And I talk about it really nonchalant, double brackets, double age groups. I'd walk away with 10, 12 matches, but as a kid, I just loved to wrestle. And my parents saw that, my dad saw that, and he knew that how I was motivated that way. But for them to get in the car every week and do that, and I never ever remember my parents ever say they're tired. Never that was something I came across. It was like, Dad, and it was always what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the best, and he knew that, and he held me accountable, every step of the way. He loved me and he motivated me, but that's all preparation for moments like this. You learn, however many big finals matches I was in, how many marquee matches I was in, match of the night, end of the session, and you have won a lot, and I've lost a couple of those, but it's all preparation. And it's just without their sacrifice and dedication and time, all that time that they put into me, I wouldn't be here. So that's one thing that I definitely wish I could do, and I can't wait to give them a hug.
When you think about your career, and you're someone who I feel like has been in the spotlight truly their whole career. You're kind of like that first generation of the internet and Flow and YouTube, and just like the sport's growing and the internet changed the game. What's it like kind of being someone who's had a career that now 15 years, you've been just a known celebrity in the sport. What's that like?
I'm grateful for that. If you're, when you're at this point, you just think about, what would 8-year-old David Taylor say right now? If you're 8 years old, and I just, my goals are always so big, and I think as I was doing them, being a 4-time state champion, multiple-time national champion, you kind of get lost in the moment of being a competitor and just wanting to do those things, But if I go back as that little kid with those big aspirations and big dreams, to accomplish one of those things would have been amazing, and to continue to stay hungry and continue to progress along that way. And it's really cool and special. But yeah, when I watch Kale wrestle, he transformed the sport of wrestling. He molded the way that I wrestle because I wanted to be like him. I want to emulate the way he scored points. And I feel like I've been able to transform wrestling in the same way because of the way that I score points. And I want to go out and dominate my opponents, and I want to score as many points as I possibly can and make the sport exciting. So I think that that's all part of it. You want to be the best, you're going to be in the spotlight. I'd rather be in the spotlight than be the guy that's on the back of the bus, like, hoping he can get in the lineup. I would never, that's something I never have experienced. I've always experienced the other side of it. And, it's just always, but I've had those same aspirations and expectations on myself, and others have the same. And it's just really cool to be in this spot, 30 years old. Like I said, I won my first national championship when I was 8. By the time I was 10, we go back and look at the statistics. I've lost very few matches. I probably scored bonus points on over 90% of the opponents I've wrestled, for 20 years. And I think that's, I'm definitely proud of that, and it's definitely prepared me for this moment.
You talked earlier, David, about some of the adversity and tough times helping you to, like, dig deep and go get that one-timer at the end of the match. I just think back, have you started reflecting on, like, Bubba Jenkins, Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs? I mean, when they started asking you about Yazdani on the inside, like, you've been on the other side of that, right? Like,
yeah.
Talk a little bit about, like, have you started reflecting on any of that much since the loss? Like, could this have happened a different way? Would it be as sweet had there not been your heart ripped out of your chest, never being able to be a 4-timer, not making some of those couple first world teams, getting hurt at Beat the Streets, having that year gone when you were UWW Wrestler of the Year? Like, does that make this more special?
Definitely. I definitely think back on those things, and as a kid, just that stuff it's not really that important at the time. But it's like at that time, like, the Tulsa Nationals is your Olympics. It's the biggest event. You want to go there and you want to win. It's important. I remember I was at Tulsa Nationals one time, and I think I won Cliff Keen at the time. It was like the Trinity Award was like the big deal, and back then there was only like 3 or 4 big tournaments. And the roller series was that. I won the first one in November, and I had wrestled both Alton brothers in a Pennsylvania tournament, and I beat both of them. And Angie was in my weight class, and I remember my mom was looking at the bracket, and she's like, "Well, David, you've already pinned this boy, and if you pin 3 more guys, you'll get OW." And I lost Andrew. I got thrown in a headlock. I came back, and at that point, where I was starting to win a lot of things, and I came back, and I ended up wrestling Logan Stever for true second. So Andrew beat both of us, and I beat Logan for true second. I think I've always battled back. I think I never lost and got 5th place or whatever. I always came back and got 3rd or 2nd. And all those times, especially when I kind of fast forward to like the trials process, of those years where you lose in the semis or the mini tournament finals, and it's just like you have no incentive to wrestle back for 3rd place. 0. You get like $200 being on the national team. It's not even worth your time. But it's pride. And I think about the matches that I won on the backside of those brackets were guys I'd never beat before. And I think you get those little things, and I think I've always had pride. I always want to put forward my best foot and make the most of those opportunities. And I would say probably the one loss that obviously hurts the most when I look back is when I lost in the national finals my freshman year to Bubba, because I was undefeated. I had this aspiration to be a 4-time undefeated national champion. I was on track to do that. And I think about that. If I win that match, I think I'm a 4-time national champion undefeated. I don't think the match with Kyle Dake happens. I think we'd probably stay separated in weight class. It just, things would have been different. But I don't think I would have been the same motivated person. I think I would have been trying to just like get through that, and I think I'd have a hard time that next step in my career. So losing it was really hard at the time, but it took our pressure off. I had a great sophomore year, and then we had obviously the great trilogy with Kyle Dake my junior year, won my senior year, and then obviously got kind of put back into that rut again. But those moments, of letting some of those matches slip away that hurt really bad at the time, when you look back, I'm thankful for them, and this international run that I've had over the last 4 or 5 years, I've dominated people, but I've had some really gutsy come from behind victories, and I think that was kind of full circle for me. I think I'm really proud of those, and tonight was one of those ones, and I saw a video of it, underhook, fake snap, and double leg. That's just not something you probably saw in my arsenal much in my career, but it's something I've been definitely working on, and you know, it was just reactionary. Honestly, it was just drilling and reactionary, and drilling when you're tired, and executing, and being held accountable by Coach Casey and our staff, and I was able to execute when I was tired.
What do you got running through your head when the anthem's playing and the medal's around your neck?
Wow, I mean, people since I was a little kid, they think, well, with national anthem, what do you think about? I've always thought about, obviously proud of being American, proud of the Stars and Stripes, proud to represent my country, and I've always thought about that anthem playing as an Olympic gold medalist, and I think today, as it went up, just super proud to be able to represent the United States, and just closed my eyes and I thought about it and just listened to the words, and just really grateful for this opportunity. It's just amazing. It really is. It's just amazing.
The match. We had talked about you wrestled him twice before. He comes out really hard. He gets the lead. He can't hold up. Had you and your coaches talked about, hey, he's probably going to have a different approach, and did your expectation for his approach, did they kind of match up with what he did?
I think so. I think the first one, obviously I was pretty unknown at that point. I think I surprised him a little bit. I think his reputation, he just dominates people. People kind of give it to him. And I remember going to that match being like, I just got to give myself a chance. Obviously it was going really bad early, and I kind of got the takedown right at the end of the period. And although I had been dominated, it was only 3-2 going to the break. And I remember coming out of that, and every match it's like the same. It's just like this fatigue, right? It's like the pit of your stomach. You're so tired, but you got to make that decision. Am I gonna give up and quit, or am I gonna find a way to get this done? At that point, it's like, this is the guy. This is the pinnacle. This is the Olympic gold medalist. And I remember coming out of that second, you kind of got in a flurry. Just was able to kind of withstand what he was doing, and he was definitely much more offensive in that match. And then in the second match, I think he knew he was gonna get tired, so he wanted to come in hard and thought he was gonna coast. And I figured in this match it would not be that way. I figured he would definitely try and shut it down, and it was definitely a lot more conservative than what I thought, because that's just not the way he wrestles. And he wrestled very conservative. He did not, even in a front headlocks positions, he didn't even try and score. He was just trying to just keep me in front of him and give himself a chance, and went on shot clocks and push-outs. I don't think he even shot once.
No.
So, he did a good job. He down blocked some of my shots, and I got a real nice, clean high crotch, obviously. Got that takedown. I got pushed out with maybe like 1:20 left, and at that point, you got to go get it. And it took me a pretty long time to get it, but I was able to get it.
1-0 into the break. Were you expecting him to fatigue a little bit going into that? Because it's like you definitely weathered his storm, or
yeah,
he didn't really actually bring a storm in this scenario. I kind of expected unravel a little bit. When did you start to feel, or did you ever at any point feel him fatigue?
He was tired. I could feel it. Obviously, but there's so many different kinds of fatigue. There's emotional fatigue. There's so many things. And at that point, he was winning. He's winning the break. His plan, probably as perfect as it could have been first period for him. And I still felt pretty solid going to the break. Hey, I got 3 more minutes to work in. Obviously, there was some more action in that second period. But he wanted to win, he definitely wanted to win, and not that anyone doesn't want to win. And I learned this a while ago, like in having a motor, like you can't rely on that to beat people. You need to beat them with attacks, make them feel threatened, and eventually you got to go score, So yeah, he was tired, but I had to keep attacking and shut a lot of them down. But my philosophy is, you take one shot, and you got one shot to score. You take 12 shots, you score on 2 of them, you get 2 takedowns. And I don't know how many shots I took. I felt like I took a handful of them and was only able to execute 2 of them, but they were important.
The edge tactics, you seemed really savvy there, knowing if he got you in the zone, dropping down to a grounded position. I don't remember that in your previous meetings against him. You implementing that. Was that something you thought, if he gets me here?
So I actually had a lot of success in our first couple of meetings with that, where I would kind of drop down in the zone, and I saved a lot of push-outs. I think in those matches, he really dominated positionally in the first match, first period, and the second match, first period, and the second periods were different. this match, he didn't try as hard to dominate the positions. I think he was trying to conserve as much energy as he possibly could. I think he tried 3 underhooks that he really tried on. I stopped one of them for sure. One of them he got the push out. I think, but that grounded thing's a new rule where basically if you're going out under attack, I think the way it's supposed to be is if you're going out under attack, I think they can caution one you and put you down. But I don't remember going out of bounds. I feel like we were going, I stopped, but I was wrestling. So but he wasn't even trying to go behinds. And that's one of his best positions. He was like, I'm gonna literally hold him here, 20 seconds off the clock. Hold him here, 20 seconds off the clock, and I think, so giving up that one on the edge, I remember coming back and be like, I saw the ref give it, and it wasn't on the scoreboard, so I didn't even know if he had it or not. I got the next takedown, I saw it was 2-2. I'm like, oh, obviously they gave it to him. So, obviously that's his strength, and gonna have to continue to make adjustments there, and that's just position. You can't really let him get that underhook in the zone because that's just where he's the best.
You went into his strength a couple times there. You mentioned his front headlock. Maybe in the first second of the match, you shot in there. You got under a couple times in the first period. How confident are you in someone's front headlock, including his?
Yeah, my philosophy is no go behinds. It's just something that's just a pride thing for me. No go behinds. Never in practice, never ever. That's an effort thing. I hold my kids accountable to that at home at the M2 Training Center. That's like our one rule. No go behinds. If you give someone no go behinds, that changes the match. That's a mental thing. That's just like, don't give it up. So I feel comfortable. I shoot a lot of shots, and I don't want to give up go behinds. We've had some exchanges in the past where he was almost getting go behinds on me, and I turned him into my takedowns twice. So I think that's just that was part of their plan. And that's probably his number one scoring opportunity is snap go behind. So for him to not even score there kind of speaks volumes. So obviously they're not wanting to create action. So I feel comfortable there, and I think at the end, I'll have to go back and look at it. But when I started having this flurry, I shot, and I was able to, I think, kind of like misdirect him a little bit and get a little bit of like exchange out of him in the last minute, which I think kind of opened him up for that last takedown.
Mm-hmm. Inside, media got you to commit to Norway, or you're committed through Paris.
Oh, Paris? Yeah, definitely. 2024, it's only 3 years away.
All right.
I feel great right now. I basically missed 2 years, the last couple of years, which is tough. I think, I got a busy life. I get home, and my wife and I, we just opened up a new location with K2 Roots. Their grand opening will be next Friday. M2 Training Center, we just got through Fargo and the World Teams. So, we got kids getting ready for big events, Journeyman, Super 32. So getting those kids ready. We have a second girl on the way coming in September, and the World Champs in October. So it's obviously it's great to be here and compete at this level. I love that. I'm excited to get home, and obviously, but yeah, get the opportunity to wrestle the 2 biggest events within 2 months. Obviously, I'm in peak shape right now. I'm excited to wrestle. Obviously, get a little downtime from this, get back into my life, and it's kind of been on pause for the last 2 months, and then get ready to go. World Championships, I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to compete at that level.
Obviously, there are other guys at 86 kilos, but you guys have been a class of the field. For the last 4 years, how often do you find yourself thinking about it?
I don't think about my opponents too often, but yeah, I think when I'm, Instagram's like your highlight reel, so you see stuff on Instagram, like the cool lifts and me training and stuff, which is part of it, but the real gutsy, hard stuff that I'm doing, when I'm in tears and my stomach hurts because I'm pushing my body to extreme stuff, yeah, I'm thinking about that. Thinking about a match like tonight, and he's one of the few people in the world that's going to make me wrestle to that ability, so not necessarily him, but I know in the moments like that, and when I need the extra, you get motivated by the best guys, and he's a 3-time world champion. He'd probably be 5-time world champion, if I hadn't beaten him twice, so we talk about, he's a great wrestler, maybe greatest of all time. That rivalry that we have, he's a young kid, so it's not going to end.
Did you know he tore a huge hole in your singlet?
He's done. I've had claw marks and ripped singlets the last couple of times I wrestled. This one was different. He was doing everything he possibly could to keep me in front of him. I remember him underhooking and grabbing my singlet at one point in time. So I don't remember it ripping, but it makes it a little cooler,
Yeah,
so it's all good.
Sick. It was really cool. Yeah, sorry. I really appreciate your time, David. Last question. You and Coach Kale and Coach Casey. Casey's been in your corner for a long time. What was that moment like immediately after the match?
The World Championships was cool, but it was, obviously I had my big matches early, so you can't really get too excited about it, and then this one, you know, to have the biggest match of my life against the toughest component of my life, you know, on that stage and be able to win the way I did, I mean, it's just like to be able to embrace, you know, Coach Casey. You know, I was a great wrestler. I was very technically skilled, you know, my whole life, but I don't know how really tough I was. And wrestling with Casey for the last 10 years of my life, he made me tough. You know, I got there and he killed me, you know, for a long time. And, you know, he put me in a front headlock and spin behind, and he basically, hey, that's not enough effort. You know, it's simple. It wasn't like get mad at me and say it's not enough. You can't give it up go behinds, you know. And he was able to, he made me tough, you know. And I think, I know for a fact I wouldn't be a world champion, I wouldn't be an Olympic champion without Casey. And someone told me when I was young, if you wrestle Casey every single day, you'd be a national champion. And if you look at the track record of our middleweights at Penn State and all the guys that seek out and wrestle Casey Cunningham, those guys are the best, you know. And I give the same advice to everybody else. And sometimes that means I got more demand. He's got more demand, you know, on him. But obviously, it's people making the most of the opportunity. And Kale and Cody have been a part of my life since I was just a little kid. And you know, just Kale full circle of the impact he had on me as a young kid to score and wrestle the way I do. And you know, his dad, you know, in the Wasatch program was one of the first programs that I went and trained at when I was a kid. Watching him win his gold medal, you know, I remember him I remember vividly the match. I remember him winning. And that was the first time I was 13 years old. And it seemed real. Like, hey, this is real. I saw him do it. This guy I look up to. He won. I can do the same thing. And just his guidance along the way, keeping me, you know, on the right track and focused, and just his experience of what he went through as competitors, you know, and what I've gone through in my life of that same expectation of excellence, and helping me manage that along the way. And Cody has helped me along the way as well with that same thing, because he was with Kale, you know. So just without those three guys, I wouldn't be standing here as an Olympic champion, you know. So extremely grateful for them. It's amazing.
You made everyone proud. Thanks so much, Davis.
Thank you.
Congrats.